Okay, let's make the Rook. Let's open up the assembly. And something I can do to open this pawn up is just right click on that and go into open part. It's a nice shortcut. Now, as I said before, I'm going to use this pawn as the basis for the Rook. So there's a couple things I can do here. I can create another configuration, and we're not going to do that. I will use configurations of pawns to create the two color tones of the opposing sides. So there will be a white and a black, or brown and light tan, or what have you. Two contrasting colors. But what I will do is just simply, because the basics of my Rook is here, I'm going to go File, Save As, and this is very important to read through these. Every time you do this, if you have this part open in an assembly, it'll give you this option. And the first one just saves this part to a new file name, and then the assembly will now reference the new part with the new file name. Don't want to do that. Save as a copy and continue. This will save my pawn as a Rook, but I'll continue to work in the pawn file. Don't want that. We want to save as a copy and open. We want to save this as a Rook and then open that Rook file. So save as copy, and we'll call this Rook. Okay. Okay, so this is Rook. So I can edit this, and I don't have to worry about this impacting my pawn file. So everything looks just the same, just like it did on the pawn file. So we'll just edit that sketch. Now, I know I'm not going to have this arcing head on a Rook, so I'll just sketch out what I think a Rook head might look like, and I might raise the overall height of some of these other geometries, so elevate the entire Rook completely, and probably keeping this foot the same distance. So let's see what happens if I take this dimension right here up, I'll just go plus 0.1. It throws the whole thing out of context, of course. Not a problem. And will it do that with this too? Of course it will. So, what if I delete that dimension, plus 0.1? Of course. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick, and it is called Display Delete Relations. Select all of these. Delete all relations. Boom. Alright. Now, these geometries exist, but nothing is defining them. So this will make it a lot easier for me to go ahead and edit. You'll even get to the point where, look, I can just drag points. That's how freely we can now alter this sketch. Okay, awesome. So let's extend this. Awesome. Okay. Let's maybe, well, if we want to keep those three ribs as a commonality between all the pieces, then we should be okay. Yeah, we'll be alright. So let's just finish off the head. Let's just see what this looks like. Not bad. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to extend the height of this portion, and then later I'm going to cut into this portion so we can see the ramparts. So let's do that. Let's extend this. I'm not normal to the sketch right now, but I can still edit it. Okay, we see it kind of went in the opposite direction than what I was really looking for. So I've got a couple things to do here. The best thing to do is probably define this point in relation to this, and then extend this upwards. Perfect. Okay. Then we can exit the sketch there. Awesome. Now, how am I going to cut away the areas of this that I don't want? I could cut away what I don't want, or I could remove this top completely and build up. Let's attempt to cut away. So I'm going to create a sketch on this surface, and I'm going to go normal to that. And now I think we'll get into some circular sketch patterns. So let's draw an area that we envision cutting out of this. So there, and there, and let's make the angle in between this something that divides nicely by 360, an even number. Let's call it 45 degrees. Okay. And now I don't want a pizza slice out that. I do want to take out the rest of the inside, but you remember I want to leave something standing here. And this is just visual for now. How about that? Perfect. Okay. Now let's circular sketch pattern. I didn't even need to draw this second line. Let's go ahead and get rid of the second line. I'll explain why. Yes, okay. Circular sketch pattern. Okay, I hover over this and it says reverse direction. Okay, entities to pattern, that guy. And it already gave me 4, and it'll evenly divide them. 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you look at this, and if I'm going to cut out every other one, so 1, 2, 3, 4, that'll be, this turret will have 4 ramparts. Now it'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a nice number. Okay. There's some interesting symmetry going there, so we'll click OK to this. And now I'm going to do some trimming. I'm going to trim away everything that I really am not going to need for this next operation. It's perfect. This is what I need. Now I will select the areas that I'm going to cut. I can go straight into features and go extruded cut. And I'm going to cut that one and then every other one of these. Now the last time we cut, we did a blind amount. Blind just means you give me a distance, that's how much I'm going to cut. But let's go up to surface, and then I'm going to select the surface. How about this? That revolve right there. So cut them all the way down to that revolve, and let's just see what happens. Okay, it's saying it doesn't like that at all, does it? Let's see where this is going. Click OK. Yeah, that is not a rook. That's some interesting geometry. So it really didn't like that surface input that I gave it. And I don't have to undo this. Remember, I just go right into the cut extrude. Nothing's lost. Let's try up to vertex. And the vertex will be that right there. And it's not letting me select it. Okay, now, is there a point on this? There is not. So let's cancel out of this. And let's insert a plane in the part, okay? So what we're going to do here, this is interesting. This is a rollback feature, okay? It says, I want to go back to a point in time before that cut extrude. And then I want to insert something here at this point in time that will exist before the cut extrude. And in this case, it's going to be reference geometry. It's going to be a plane. So we need to define this plane, and a circle should define a plane on its own without any other information, and it does perfectly. Awesome. So this message up here says it's fully defined. You cannot create geometry unless it's fully defined. And we're good to go, so we'll just do green check mark there. And now what I'm going to do is roll it forward, and of course we still have the snafu there, but we have this visible plane, which if you feel like that's too big just visually, I mean the plane stretches on for infinity. So what you're doing here is just changing the visible size reference that defines that plane for you, and that'll make it a little easier. Oh, there we go. Not even. There we go. And we'll be able to. This is doing nothing. It's just for the visual simplicity of what we're trying to work on here. So we'll go back to the cut extrude. We'll edit that feature. Now, what I'm going to do is go back to. I'm going to go up to surface, and I'm going to select that plane. And now we should be good to go. Awesome. We are. Okay, well, I would like to see some sort of height here and here and here and here, maybe up to the midplane of these. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to this cut extrude. We're going to edit that feature. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We're going to leave that the way it is. And we're going to create another sketch on this plane, and let's go normal to that, and I'm going to draw a circle that I want to take down, and see how it snaps to that. That's the geometry that my previous circle defined, so I know I'm good to go. I lock up to any one of these points, and it's the same exact radius of the previous circle. Go like that, click OK. Don't even need to dimension it. It's already defined. It's locked into the side of this rampart. And then I will just go to Features, Extruded Cut. And for this one, I'll go blind. Let's see if this is visually enough for what we're trying to accomplish. Not bad. Not bad at all. So, let's pull this part, and in fact we're 3D printing here. We could put some windows on the side of this. That would be cool, would it not? So we can come in and add those kind of details later in a more advanced session. That would be fun though. And, you know, I don't need to see this plane at all, right? So I'll just go to my visibility, and a lot of these things are by default selected. If I had any reference points or axes or coordinate systems, they would be visible. I don't. I do have planes. I'm going to unclick that, click away, and the plane is now invisible. It still exists, and when I hover over on the left, I can see it, and when I left click, it stays there temporarily until I click away again. Let's bring this into the assembly. Let's save it. Control Tab over to our assembly, and insert components, and let's go a Rook, and here it is. Awesome. Let's mate this concentrically. Now look, I won't select concentric. I'll click on the two things I want mated. It's smart enough that, hey, it says, hey, I've got two cylindrical faces. This guy probably wants concentricity, and I do. And then I'll drag this up and select that one, look down here and select that one, and there we go. Things are starting to shape up. I think I talked about wanting some more height out of this Rook, And now I'm pretty sure I do, looking at everything. But what we're going to do on the first pass is just go in and rough out all the pieces, and then we'll put some of the nuances and the finishing touches on. And that'll be easy enough to edit that sketch. So, here we are. And we'll save our assembly. And next time we'll move on to creating a knight. That'll be ambitious. Alright, talk to you next time.